Some people hate him, some people love him. I am the latter. Denji is a top MC across anime and manga, and I mean it. I can hear the keyboards typing slurs and hate comments already, but hear me out. As a young man, you and I alike, assuming you're a male just into his 20s or somewhere near, but you also don't have to be, can relate to this dude. Whether you relate then or now, at some point, you were going through similar things, experiencing parallel struggles, and having comparable journeys. It all may sound like a stretch, but genuinely, Denji is so goddamn real. With nothing to his name but a crippling debt and his sweet best friend pet dog Pochita, Denji for real made it out of the trenches. Having basically nothing, he dreams. He dreams of a normal life. One where he can experience simple things like putting jam on his bread and to not go hungry. One where he can experience having a girlfriend and feel the touch of a woman. Things that are so normal that we ourselves would never consider to be a luxury, but to him, it's a life that seems so far out of reach. Maybe the second one is a bit of a luxury. A woman's touch? Some of us have probably never felt that. Not me, of course. I would never be talking about myself. I mean, I've definitely felt the touch of a woman before. I'm just speaking for a friend, obviously. Moving on, Denji gets a taste of his dream, or what he thinks is the path towards it. Makima pulls up to the scene, giving him a warm embrace, and naturally having no one else in his life, his best buddy dog just gave his life for him. This severely impacts him as his new life has now begun. A life as a lapdog devoted to Makima. She's the first person to show Denji any bit of human affection, so even if on her end it is nothing serious at all, it means the world and more to Denji. This is what he has desired for so long, and it seemed like such a distant dream, but it's really happening right before his very eyes. Put yourself in his shoes and you'd probably be feeling all the types of ways he's feeling in these moments, making the same sort of choices he makes and becoming a similar person to him. She gives him the opportunity at a life that was once thought to never be achievable. A warmer roof over his head, those meals like jam on bread he's always wanted to devour, experiences with women, oh my god, and a hell of an adventurous batshit crazy new lifestyle that will eventually expose his human condition. Makima being the catalyst for Denji's life events after living in poverty, she is unsurprisingly glorified by Denji. The goddess that saved him is how he views her. Therefore, he willingly becomes self-enslaved, devoting everything he can to her. Anything she needs from him, he obliges without hesitation. A beyond well-trained dog that fiends for her touch, her attention, her love. It stands atop being his absolute priority to receive those things, or desire them the most, wavering along the way with moments like Power offering to let him touch her breasts, or his tragedy of an arc with EryiZ. It all leads back to her, the Makima. The experiences, though, are not fruitless. They do subtly start to make him wary of the grandeur of the sensations he's seeking, to not be as grand as they might have once seemed when they were so far out of reach. Squeezing Power's chest was short-lived and not as great as he hyped it up to be in his head, a fleeting sensation that gives us a glimpse into his natural human nature. He is not satisfied thinking, that's it, where's all the amazing types of emotions he thought he'd be feeling afterwards? Was it always going to be this unfulfilling? Yeah, it was. But he didn't know that. It's human nature to fantasize about the unattainable, and it's also human nature to not feel as accomplished, relieved, or happy with when those desires are actually attained. The goalpost just ends up shifting further and further, always wanting more and more. An insatiable urge to keep chasing what will never give us what is truly gratifying. Then all the events with EryiZ that seem like normal romantic things happening turned out to be so illusory and fraudulent, with this girlie literally trying to kill him instead. On and on, all the things he dreams of just aren't enough. That's why his character is genius. There's a few ideas in my head I want to unpack here. Firstly, Denji is fucking lost. All this bonkers shit that's happening, like on some sensory overload type shit, what does it really do to further or progress his life? What direction is his life really going in with any of the things that occur? Feels as though it's a bit directionless, like he's just living the day-to-day, lacking true meaning or purpose. He doesn't truly know where he's headed, therefore there's a sense of him being lost. This goes hand in hand with him also not knowing what he wants. Him looking around and experiencing all these basic human desires that end up being immensely lackluster has him confused. He wonders what his truest wants that would actually leave him with a sense of fulfillment are, which is all so fucking real, right? You and I alike have probably either felt this way or still feel this way, just coasting by with no real sense of purpose or direction and where our lives are headed. Things happen from time to time, but ultimately we feel lost in this vast world, not knowing where or how we fit into it. Our desires being attained leaves us disappointed or unsatisfied with what we have, straying us into different things that we think might pique our interest or spark some passion, or they are not attained, and either way we end up flip-flopping on what we believe is our true desires. Never knowing what we want, the uncertainty only amplifies our feeling of being lost, merely a vessel drifting with the wind. All this, and we're probably only in our late teens or early 20s. Though, to be fair, to know your deepest aspirations at so young is pretty damn fucking hard. Even now, I don't know where I want to be in the future, but I want to keep creating these videos for people to enjoy and to connect with others about common interests. It's rough, man, but I sincerely believe we will all find our wants in due time and have a clear idea of who and where we want to be. By now, if you've been on any media platform, you've probably come across content mentioning the loneliness epidemic type shit. Motherfuckers just feeling like they got no one. Sometimes I'm motherfuckers. The loneliness people go through is greatly intensified by the fact that they might also be touch deprived. Touch deprivation is a real thing. There are people out there in this world who are genuinely deprived of such a basic thing as human touch, let alone a romantic partner giving it. It's just from anyone at this point. Anyway, loneliness is a human being's biggest op. This channel has so many videos talking about how and why that shit sucks, and the idea is shown across multiple series. Denji is a pretty lonely guy. He ain't got no friends and no hoes, so the idea of human touch is further beyond the scope of his imagination. This is very well the case for a lot of young men in the real world. Feelings of loneliness, like no one cares and have nothing to live for. To my knowledge, it's an increased statistic compared to fucking 19 whatever, that young men now have not engaged in romantic relations or sexual activity with a romantic partner. That is really fucking sad and hella concerning. So imagine how these shitty feelings, thoughts, and things happening around these dudes might affect them. They're probably cooked, and there's a fucking lot of them out there. Now, imagine that you are the dudes I'm talking about, and that Denji is basically also these dudes. By an absolute fucking miracle, some goddess, just some girl in your case, comes by and saves you from this atrocity of a state you're in. For Denji, that miracle goddess is Makima. Now, how do you think you would react? If we're being real, it's probably exactly like Denji. That girlie that shined a light on your life will become the puppet master of your psyche, willingly and unwillingly. Even if she makes you feel like ass, you try to justify it in your head because there's no world where she could go wrong. You're a slave to her will, obliging to her wants and needs over yours. Whatever it is she wishes, you give it your everything to make it a reality, disregarding the fact that she doesn't really care or that she treats you like shit. It's all a facade, a mere illusion that you choose to fall for. You worship her to that great of an extent that your suspicions are overshadowed by your unadulterated affection for this person. Though, even if you stopped bowing your head so easily, where does it leave you? Alone, again, without her, and therefore lost. Some people aren't worth it like that, and you need to realize that. But don't stress if you've been here before. We've all faltered to someone in this type of manner. What matters is not letting it happen again. As human beings who are selfish and prone to making mistakes, it's important to not be complete slaves to our impulses, which is pretty damn hard, no lie. Whether it's gaming, drugs, alcohol, smoking, eating bad foods, scrolling, or fucking gooning, it's crucial we make a conscious effort to not indulge in such things too often, or at all in the severe cases. To maintain a good level of control and balance, to not just consume all the time will make us better beings that are more fulfilled. The happiness and joy we experience will be much richer. Human beings who primarily act in accordance to achieving their ends, that focus on one's own happiness the most, were susceptible to choosing decisions that might be a bit of a lower pleasure. Things that are short-lived and shallow that give us an immediate but only temporary fix of a good sensation. Denji falls into what I'm describing pretty hard. Mostly his gooner tendencies he wants to satisfy the most. Aside the normal things like a touch of a woman and such, he acts on his impulses a fuck ton, unable to think ahead of any consequence. Even the moment after touching Power's breasts, he still chases things that won't give him the fulfillment or real happiness he's desiring. Shit like this is super apparent in the second part of the manga. Whether it's in the past or present, we're likely to have been like Denji too. Slaves to our primal urges, human condition, or superficial short-term desires. Just chasing that dopamine as much as we can by any means necessary. The most accessible ones that we're probably most prone to are gaming, scrolling, and the dreaded gooning. Endlessly, we waste away draining hours into these activities purely off a pursuit for some short-term pleasure. I'm not saying that you can't game at all or scrolling only a little bit, though no gooning, that's a no-no. It's just that in most scenarios, those activities are to satisfy our brain and attention spans in the moment that don't run any longer than that. Things that pass time just for the sake of passing time, with nothing fruitful coming out of it. In fact, I'd say it's only a detriment in most cases. Building addiction and dependence on these things to feel any bit of pleasure or joy. The same can go for drugs, alcohol, eating shit foods, the list could go on. I'm only saying all this from experience with many of what I've mentioned. Gaming is a big one that's definitely dialed down thankfully. Scrolling, I actively tried to not do and do pretty well compared to 2 years ago and before that. And gooning, I'm not even trying to delve into why that shit is rotten to the core, hence why I avoid it at all costs. Point is, we've been in a boat of an inability to resist our greatest urges, and that if we want to become better people, we need to be able to control it, manage it, and keep balance to not overindulge, or our brains will be fried. That's it for me today. Denji is just like me for real. Jokes aside, I hope y'all enjoyed the video and could take something away from it. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate if you could subscribe, comment whether it's about the video, anime, or any thoughts you might have around the ideas. I'm trying to hit 1K before the end of the year, so it'd help out a lot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.